Also got my theme music. Got to pull it up. What happened?
So I don't know what's going on in the game, but it's still going bonkers back here. I just got
Right.
I was like, okay, this is what just happened right now.
Let me see if I can, while we're getting people in, I'm going to see if I can actually send you an invite also. See how that does
Okay.
on the phone. I might have to try it out later, though, experiment more.
All right, it's up there.
Yeah.
Set up there when we're ready. If we need to use it, we're ready to go.
Hey, how we doing? Welcome to the stream. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Forward to
Man, listen. Hope you guys welcome to another episode of Will Call, where your teams are the star, you are the star, you are the focus. I know, brother, like you are a huge. First and foremost, I want to thank you for coming in on this New Year's Eve, brother. It's always a pleasure just to have you. You know, just taking the time out. I know you guys. I know you're very busy. You know, just talk about your favorite teams. But I just want to make sure. I want to get started real quick. I want to get your take on the college football playoffs. You know, like you said before we got on. You know, you just got to play the games ultimately, right?
You know, I mean, I saw that the first games. I wanted to see what time we were going to come on, so I was checking for the games. So the first was at 3:00.
Right.
Oh, okay. Because before that, there were games last night, a couple days before, and I'm looking, I'm going, I didn't realize the bowl season had really started because I've been so busy with my work stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that Clemson went down, and I went, okay, I better check to see what time games are on today. And sure enough, there was the first game, and then, there's a game that's going on right behind us right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I would have normally watched the game that was on earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was on, and I started it from start to finish. And I think initially you saw when TCU won, 14-zip initially?
Yeah.
Right?
Quick start, yeah.
They took it on the chin, right? They're going to start running him over. Michigan's going to get their offensive line. They're going to get him going. TCU, fairy dust's going to rub off, if you will. It's going to be like the earlier game with the, Alabama and K-State.
Yeah.
Alabama woke up. No. Just it was funny because you would see Michigan come back and score,
right.
And excuse me, and then they turn right back around. When I say they, I mean TCU, and I'm in my room setting up stuff, and I hear the crowd explode again. I'm like, what happened? And it was just one after another.
Absolutely. Listen, like I'm just gonna say, I'm just so impressed by TCU. I knew they had a really strong season. I just didn't think they were gonna play and show out like this. And maybe this is like I may be a victim of just like SEC bias or Big Ten support. But just what they've done this year, especially in this game, it's probably arguably the most impressive win of the season. Regular season, yeah. And ironically, I thought Michigan coming into the playoffs. I thought Michigan's win against Ohio State was the most impressive, considering it was a road game in Columbus. But they showed out today. And what's funny? Early in the season, I talked about Michigan. I looked at that schedule. I'm like, this is not a really strong schedule. I thought they were overrated. They beat up on some really subpar teams early, even though they got stronger as the year went on. So, and I was wrong about it for the season. Especially when they beat Ohio State, of course, won the conference title. As soon as I let my guard down, that's when they do something like this. As soon as they let their guard down, that's crazy, man.
It was just, the thing about what happened with TCU today, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of the
player. That's fine, yeah.
It was just like 2 or 3 players on that defensive side that just showed out today.
Mm-hmm.
It just caused havoc. There was a guy on the defensive line. There was a guy that was, I don't remember if he was a safety or a corner.
Mm-hmm.
There was one pick that it was just a classic. He read the route, came down, and then just stepped in front of the receiver, basically as I was coming out of the break. Right? I think that was the pick 6.
Yes.
And that was just one of those you saw. It looked like TCU was the better prepared team.
Yeah, that's the same thing I said.
Right? So as I'm watching all this unfold, I went 2 things. they knew. I think TCU knew Michigan was probably going to be a little, like, okay, Cinderella story. It's over now. Now you're going to come in and find my.
Especially how Michigan started off with that long, from the first play of scrimmage, the first play again, that long run. I thought the same thing.
Right. All of a sudden, I know I'm going to start aging myself, but all of a sudden, Mike Tyson started facing Buster Douglas. Right?
Yeah.
For those of you out there who don't get the thing.
Oh, yeah. Look, they'll understand soon enough.
But it was just watching just go, because sooner or later you thought, because I think it was at one point it was 21-3. And a couple of those, there was that no touchdown. It was a touchdown. The guy rolls in the end zone. Come on, that's a touchdown. Right? There was a couple of those, but I saw when it got to 21-3, I went, okay, and I think that's when I went to go start doing other things, and then that's when I started hearing the roars going, like, whoa, what happened? Arrogance. And I'm sitting there going, this is insane. So finally, I just went on my couch and I'm just watching, and every 2 minutes, touchdown, 50 yards, 75 yards. Just, I think you probably saw the same thing I did, and probably thought this, I felt it was going to happen. Remember when you saw Michigan kind of do corner blitzing at the same time? Came around and took off. I went, as soon as I saw the corners come down, I went, if I see this, the quarterback sees this.
Yes.
Done. Right? And then, you get guys going for 75 yards. So then, I'm just watching some of this stuff, and I'm just, were they getting that dominated on the line by TCU where they had to, go to those levels and start corner blitzing?
Yeah, you're right. It's just, the thing is, like you said, it just comes back to, just from what you and I, what we saw in the game, TCU was just more prepared. It's just like, Coleman, like, just, it was on 2 plays. It was 2 plays of 2 passes from McCarthy, just jumped the route. Listen, I saw the second one, linebacker was just keeping his eyes on him the whole time, sitting in the zone. And then just like, as soon as he breaks for the pass, pick six right, and both plays it were jumped the route cleanly.
Yeah.
It, like, for the game, like, the excitement toward the end really covered up the sloppiness from both teams, because both teams had at least 3 giveaways apiece. So just, but, dude, it just didn't affect TCU as much, obviously, because Michigan was playing catch up most of the game. It just, like, it what impressed me about them, they just, like, it was just, they had an answer for every play. Every time you saw Michigan coming back into the game, I was like, oh, here come the comeback. No, just TCU was Horned Frogs were determined. Big play after big play.
In there, he hung in the pocket.
Yes.
And when he needed to run, it was like, the way the quarterback, what's his name? I keep thinking Maddox. It's not. What's the quarterback's name from TCU?
Max Duggan. Yep.
It wasn't like he wasn't doing anything out of control. He didn't panic, right? So when he scrambled and he ran, it wasn't panic runs. It wasn't that when he ran out of the pocket that he's leaving passes, that were he didn't leave anything on the field, right? Coming over in the middle of the field, he missed it and he took off. I think that happened. That happened in either one of the games right now, or even. I think what, it was a Michigan. It was a game that's on right now where the Georgia game. I don't know if you saw this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback Bennett pulled the ball instead of letting the running back go.
Yeah.
And and it was just like you missed it. And did you see as that play was developing? You're going, oh, that's an easy stick. Like, how did you not see that? Yeah. Right? Like. The offensive linemen, they blew that hole open. And it's like, I don't care what you see going on in the defensive backfield, wherever, when you see the offensive lineman blow the hole open,
right,
pull the ball.
Yes.
I guarantee you, your running backs running 4 or 5 are going to outrun you. Do you want to be the one trying to run somebody over, or do you want your running back to be the elusive person?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, that's what was impressive about the first game. There's some sloppiness, but there was also play where you didn't see a lot of panic going on. You really saw just play that was just so explosive, right? I mean,
yes, yeah.
It was unfortunate, on some of those plays where Michigan got beat on the blitz.
Yeah.
But,
oh yeah.
These guys were the receivers. They were just gone. They the sidelines. There was no Trout meet.
Nope. And it doesn't help when you miss the tackles. Like they don't stop them short.
And that's the thing was, in those situations where those guys were gone, there was no shot. I mean, you had guys diving, right, already out of position. It was like, there was there wasn't really much opportunity to even miss tackles because they were gone.
Right,
so
right.
It was like, like NBA fast break, right? Just gone. And it was, to me, I mean, here's something I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
And this goes to both fan bases. Remember every time somebody would score, they'd show to the fan base?
Yep.
Have you ever seen fan bases get so high and so low with each other? Were you thinking about that?
And it's not just this game. I just see that all the time. Like it's a part of the event. It like sports takes you through the highs and lows. Like especially with certain teams. Especially like with LSU and New Orleans, the Saints, just because in football is just one game a week. It's just just week to week. So it's like even when I'm confident that they'll win the game, like I'm always like I have that cautious optimism. Like I like to just take it easy. As a watching basketball and baseball, like Lakers and Yankees is just the season's so long. Like my intensity rises when it's in the postseason. Like, because there's so many chances. But like, just to go back to your question, is just the highs and lows. Like all the funny guys, just like it's remarkable how they do that. We actually do have a question, Blake. He wanted to ask you, what do you think about the no targeting call in the Michigan game?
Dude put his head down. As soon as you put your head down and when you can see the ground and not the player.
Yes. Yes, right? Absolutely. Yes.
So I think if nothing was on the broadcast, it was bad judgment to go there like that. So then, what's funny is, and what's the gentleman's name that was asking?
Oh yeah, Blake. Blake.
Yes, so Blake, let me ask you this: when we first saw the play first happen, and then did you notice when he got hit where he just kind of
lunged up, yeah.
Just got hit really bad, and I'm watching that, and I went, that doesn't look very good. Meaning, like, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking more like, personal foul. Almost.
Yes, right.
So Brandon, were you thinking the same thing? Something in terms of, okay, we need to look at this again. You know what I mean? So were you thinking the same thing? Where it was just like, wait a second, as soon as the play happened, it was bang, bang like that. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, just.
Sure enough, when they went back to it, but how surprised were you when there was no, they said no targeting? What was your first
what fascinates me about a lot of this stuff is that you endorse it all off season, you endorse it during the middle of the season. You cannot wait till the playoff to avoid it. You cannot wait till the playoffs to have a gaffe like that.
Yeah.
When you spend so much time in college, like targeting automatic ejection, especially if the way you talk about, even to the NFL, the way you endorse safety, and but you don't do nothing. You miss these blatant calls. We talk about the health of a player. The game is already dangerous, but if you are really a proponent of the future health of these players, these athletes, you can't miss a call like that.
Well, and especially, I don't know what sports shows you listen to, but more and more they talk about what we're seeing as being more of a television product.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if it truly is more of a television product, which I don't know if I always agree because I'm hesitant to say to somebody who's putting their body on the line, hey, you're a TV show. No, you're really not. But I understand the comparison, I guess, if you will.
Right.
You know, there's no reason not to make these obvious calls, right? You know, especially with somebody's health. I mean, it's really unfortunate about Tua where, you know, the whole thing now where, you know, you shake this guy's hand, he's probably going to get a concussion because, you know, it is. Once you get that first one and that second one, I don't know if you've had multiple injuries, like on a leg or shoulder or something.
Yeah.
Just it happens that much easier and faster to reach for the injuries to reoccur.
Oh, without question, yeah.
Not being a doctor of any kind, right? It's not surprising when you see guys, you know, they've already had ACL surgery, and then they step one step, and bang, they tear their ACL all over again.
Yep.
So, you know, but the head thing, like, I didn't see the hit that he took that gave him this third concussion, but you know, and it's just as the talk has been going around about he should retire. I think you should listen.
Hey, like, just and I'm gonna get back to that real quick. Blake asked a couple more questions. Well, he responded. He said, "I think the targeting call checked all the boxes for targeting, and he understood that the refs didn't want to make a call that decides the game. But at the end of the day, that's part of the game. Of course, you're absolutely right. Listen, you know, but I'd rather you get the call right. Listen, just like that. That's what your job is. Get the call right. People can say what they want about this call cost. I'm gonna say this, like, I'm a Saints fan. Remember the infamous no call against the Rams in the NFC title game? Listen, I mean, we didn't do the job. We had a lead, didn't finish the job. One thing I always say about sports: when you lose a game, there's things that you just simply did not do right.
Absolutely.
Like, just I understand, like, it's a massive gaffe, like in this game right here. Like I said, and especially I know playoffs has a reputation, of playoff sports, a reputation is to let the guys play. Listen, call what's supposed to be called.
Sure.
Call what's supposed to be called. That's I will respect you and appreciate you more because you're doing your job.
Well, I mean, and you know, case in point, remember what happened in the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Whole couple of years was about the catch. And in that game is when they said, okay, you know, all before they landed on the ground, we're going to consider that a catch, where that hadn't been the case for how many years prior to that, right? So, you know, all of a sudden we're going to ask you to change your job, right? So, you know, and it's just, I think for fans, obviously it's frustrating. For players, it's got to be frustrating.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But, you know, they talk about, you know, coaches. I was watching the Nick Saban NFL thing last night. And, you know, for the whole time during their season, they don't get to see their families at all.
Right? Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, live sports is being minimized to a show, and we're, you know, those of us who really grew up going to the games, watching the games, following the transactions and everything else, and seeing how it impacts players going from one city to the next, or, you know, I don't know if you follow. Is there anybody on TikTok that you follow that are like NFL players?
I'm trying to see. There was like one, I forgot his name, or like a former guy. It's like one, but yeah, he don't post. He don't post a lot though.
So
yeah.
There's a guy that I follow. He's okay. He played for the Browns this season, and he was the last team he played for was the Colts. So he does his journey. You know, his contract expired with the Colts. He went to Cleveland, and he's TikToking his whole off season and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Sitting back, and I'm kind of going, you know, I've heard of you. I can't remember if his name's Cotchery or, but you know what ended up happening was he got cut on the last day. He didn't make the squad, and you're kind of going, be careful, you know, as you go through these things because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So
yeah.
To go through, you know, because he was going, you know, 3 times a day promoting his locker or his shoes or the food, and recovery of all of the facilities.
Yeah.
And then he goes quiet for a day. You're going like you're doing right now, like to scratch my itch, and I'm going.
Yeah.
So sure enough, he got cut, and then he went down to practice squad. But you just again, it's a television show. No, it's not. It's somebody's livelihood, right?
Right. Absolutely.
2.3 years, 1.8, less than 2 seasons now is the average. I mean, did you know half the NFL is made up of undrafted players?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah. Because it's like it's only 7 rounds, but there's so many colleges and like so many ways to enter. Like Tony Romo was undrafted.
Yep.
Arian Foster undrafted. Right, just to name a couple. It's just there is a space for you, but you gotta, if you really to grind, that it's just that's what it boils down to. I know Blake said one more thing. He said, Michigan we shot ourselves in the foot many times in the first half, and we were playing behind the whole game, so that's on us. Yeah, that just goes back to what we were talking about. Just like I said, I was all in for Michigan for this game. I thought I didn't think it was gonna be too close. Despite how great tennis TCU's been all year, I just thought that Michigan was be too much for them. But like turnovers is a great equalizer, should I say? So just and that just builds confidence, especially when you have it on short field. But yeah, just.
Well, and mind you, that first quarter of the game, TCU held the line of scrimmages on both sides of the ball. They were not going to let the Michigan running backs run all over them like they did against Ohio State, right?
Isaiah, appreciate the likes. Blake, appreciate the likes. My bad, brother. But yeah.
So that was one thing I noticed. Was like, no. This ain't going to be Ohio State for TCU. Again, I think that went to preparation. I don't know what they did during their off time, but I imagine, the coordinators, whether it be the defensive line, linebacker, safety, whatever the case may be, they practiced against the way Michigan's offensive line was going to play. That was evident. Like, there were a couple of plays where the bats wanted to hit the corners. They didn't have it.
Oh, no.
Routed, paired, you're going up against. You must know the technique of the tackle is going to block you, the speed steps, everything. I mean, it was, to me, the way TCU held the line of scrimmage, it was like that should have been, like film study. That should have been, okay, what you would teach your incoming class or teach, high schoolers. Like, look, this is what you do to stop the run. Right?
You gotta stop the run. Like people will lose sight of that because it's a passing league. Listen, you gotta stop the run.
I think not just that part of it.
Yeah.
But my point I was trying to make, they control the lines though.
Right. Yes.
It was on or the pass. So he didn't have much time to throw initially. They got hit in the chin, right?
Yes.
So they got got knocked sideways a little bit, and you didn't see them start recovering until the second half. I'm sure Harbaugh said something in the locker room today. Wake up! You see what's happening. But it's really about just the pushes they were getting, but just those explosive, just players.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just getting through at will. Go back to the interception where he knew he was going to throw it. He knew, he cut in front of that tight end before the tight end was even starting to break. He did. It's so hard to judge quarterbacks in pros or whatever level because, which one with anticipation, which ones are throwing guys open, which ones are with, okay, he's open now, I throw him the ball.
Right. Yeah.
So, if you're not one of these guys that, is throwing with anticipation or throwing a guy open, right, you can get caught up, right? So then it becomes, a defensive back. Okay, he's not going to throw this guy open. He's going to release the ball when he knows his guy's ready to receive the ball. He's keyed in on that. Versus somebody who can throw you open, right, and throw with anticipation.
Yes.
That's a ball game. Because then he's manipulating safeties and corners and moving, players all over them.
Like you said it right. Just the anticipation, like throwing it as they're breaking with the route. See, that's what separates a lot of that's what separates the pros from the high school and college quarterbacks. That's one of the biggest attributes. Because a lot of people, I remember Greg Jennings said on one of the Fox shows a few years ago when Aaron Rodgers was young, and he said, he told Aaron that you gotta feel it, not see it. You have to a lot of people. It's obviously to do it when they're completely open, but in the NFL, you're not gonna have those type of windows. So it's just obviously you need the physical tools, but you need the anticipatory decision making.
Yeah.
So but real quick, Blake. Well, first off, I want to wish a happy birthday. James 7260 said, "Can you wish me happy birthday? It's my birthday. I beat him the New Year's. Happy birthday, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you joining on." And Blake had one more question for you, brother. He said, "What do you guys think about the OSU versus Georgia game? How you think the second half will pan out?" So, what are your thoughts about that so far? I know this second half just started. So, what was your impressions on them thus far?
Just in terms of the first half, or what?
Yeah, like both. He was at what was your thoughts of the game, and what do you expect to see?
What's funny is when the game first started and OSU went up, what was it, 14-7 or 14-0? Went, geez, all over again. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. I said the same thing. Yeah.
That's why they played the game. From what I saw going into the half, Georgia came back and they started running the football. They started playing defense again. I think eventually Georgia's going to run away from them. Maybe only be by 7 or so. Mm-hmm. But I think Georgia's going to wrap it up in the second half. There's just too much talent out there.
Yeah, it's a tightly game. It's 14 minutes left in the third. Like I said, the second half just started. Ohio State is a 28-24 lead, and they just got the ball. So Marvin Harrison, he has 2 touchdowns already. So. Not terribly shocking, but...
Well, that second one was a gem, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Threw him open, said, get over
like father, like son.
Yeah, Stout was on the run the whole time. He was being chased, and that was that task was he threw him open, right?
Yeah.
So he was already over. You saw Harrison coming over, and he basically threw the ball at the side of the goalpost.
Yes,
right? So he threw it in a position where his guy could get it, and hopefully, because that was probably good 40-50 yards downfield.
Yeah,
so.
It reminded me of Bryce Young's throw earlier today, early in the second half. That touchdown throw in the corner, it was beautiful. It's perfect in the breadbasket. It's just unbelievable. Like the guy's remarkable talent. But I'll just real quick, I want to talk to you about your Angels. I just want to apologize for you first and foremost. You know what's coming. I want to apologize to you, brother, because you deserve way better. 2 generational talents. It reminds me so much of the Detroit Lions, wasting Barry Sanders for the most part, wasting Calvin Johnson, wasting Matthew Stafford. It has that feel to it. Just 2 generational talents.
Well, the thing is, the Angels, the fans in Orange County, it's a community.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, the Dodgers, there's history. There's like a father to son feel to that generation.
Oh, yeah. Going back to Brooklyn. Yep.
Yeah. With the Angels, it's just more of, like if you're Anaheim or that's our team. We put our rounds around.
Exactly.
For years, we just saw a very well run organization.
Yeah.
The owner there he went bonkers spending money on the team, picked up Josh Hamilton, how'd that work out? Pujols at the end of his career, just made some bad financial decisions. Like I said, the last one was the third baseman. Now I can't remember his name. That was so bad. But just when you paid one person $28 million a year, and you had a guy who was making, 4 or 5, who was playing position just fine.
Yeah.
Take that money, go get some relievers, go get an extra right field, whatever the case may be. But, I get what you're trying to do with the analytics. They're not well run anymore. But at the end of the day, we can talk X's and O's all we want. They are not a well-run organization anymore. It's like Davis and the Raiders. It's like that. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example, yeah.
And then they struggle by getting Ohtani. Really? Right? And Trout, you can't even trade Trout now because he's got the back thing, right?
Just he just even still, like you had talked about it before the show, was just still excellent. I mean, probably not in his apex, but still unbelievable talent for the franchise. I mean, 3-time. Listen, you're wasting valuable talent, but it just goes to show. I always say it always starts from the top down.
Yep. And I'll tell you, turn this real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
One of my, I don't know if you saw it on my TikTok page or not, but one of my best favorite sports moments happened was last year. I went to the game where Ohtani got the MVP, right back like the bobblehead, and somebody had to mail it for me from Ontario to here. It was kind of funny, but I went to the game by myself. I just wanted to go get the bobblehead, right? Great fans in the hands, and that was the night that they had a pitcher throw a no-hitter.
Oh.
It was like, are you kidding me? Right? So you get to see, your favorite player.
Yeah.
Awards. And you look at the 6th inning and you're going, you see all the zeros up on the scoreboard?
Yeah.
We have a no-no going. And 7th inning, 8th inning goes on. And again, I know, it's college football season, baseball, nobody really cares about, Angel baseball, and trust me, I feel you there. But it was just such a great moment where you're going like, I'm actually here while all this is happening, right? And then after the game, when you're standing outside of the stadium and, you see all these broadcasters, the post-game people, right?
Yeah.
And you're feet steps away from this stuff happening as they're talking about it, as if you've seen on TV. Have you ever had a situation like that? Like how surreal that is?
Man, just I haven't had a lot of the live experiences. I've been to a few games. They didn't have the same magnitude, but just like I remember when I went to a Saints game on my 16th birthday during our Super Bowl champion run, and like I remember when they had the pick. Darren Sharp had the pick 6 against Mark Sanchez. That's when Darrelle Revis, I saw him play in person. He was unbelievable.
Really?
In 2000, Darrelle Revis in 2000, a lot of people consider that the greatest cornerback season ever. He was unstoppable. Like, he was so dominant on the outsides. But just, but yeah, it's such a beautiful thing to behold. Just really these live moments, and just really just on TV is just, it's surreal in itself. But, I can only imagine going live and stuff. It's a beautiful thing to behold. Really seeing those moments.
All right. Can I share one more crazy one?
Absolutely. You the star, brother. You are the star.
So, I'm aging myself here. 1988, the Dodgers won the World Series.
Right.
And that was the first game, the dramatic Kirk Gibson, on one leg, hits the home run to win the first game of the series.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So I didn't see the play. I was with some buddies. We played a football game that day. And we're walking the neighborhoods in Norwalk, California. We hear the whole neighborhood erupt. All the houses erupt.
Oh, my God.
We had no idea what was going on. We just, did somebody die? I mean, literally, was something on TV? But when we found out that was it, and I remember one of the guys I was with, I kid you not, he had his hand in his pocket, and he took off running, and he figured it's that. It was probably, the most surreal TV experiences I never saw, but I heard.
Yeah.
That was crazy surreal. Did this just happen to the whole Southern California area, like Beastquake mode all over again?
Oh, now I will say this. Now that I will say, I take it back. So I went to, so we went to the Super Bowl. We played against the Colts. You know, the Super Bowl was in Miami that year. So the family and I, we went out to Fort Lauderdale just to really be in that midst of all the Saints fans and stuff like that. You know, it was a beautiful experience. We ate at this restaurant called Shuck and Dive. And just and they had this big courtyard, so like they were playing like the game on the big screen outside, and it was courtyard full of Saint black and gold everywhere. So we got the games. You know, Super Bowl always started about 5:30, and we got there about 12 or 1. So we just stayed out there the whole time until the start. So really, just it was an exciting time. I remember when Tracy Porter took the pick six back on Peyton Manning. He ran it off. It was just an eruption in Fort Lauderdale. You know, Dad and I, we was crying and stuff like that. It was just such a surreal moment. You know, I wasn't alive during like the paper bag Aints era, but but I mean it was a surreal moment. You know, just that you cherish forever.
That is, the Saints have such a history. Like,
yes.
What's interesting about the Saints is when Sean Payton came there, he stabilized the organization.
Oh, without question.
Okay, there was a coach that they had, and he coached both the Saints and the Colts. And oh my goodness! But he had like legendary.
Oh yeah, Jim Mora.
What was the Saints one he had? I remember there was one he had with the Saints. Which one was that one?
Oh yeah, I forgot. It was like playoffs. I forgot which season. I always forget which season that is. I just hope we can win a game. I forgot what. It's so hilarious looking back on it. Not hilarious for the fans at that moment, of course, but that's crazy.
With the Herm Edwards, it was up there with the Denny Green.
Yeah.
If anybody's familiar, I think the best explosion I've ever seen was the Denny Green one.
Oh man,
the Bears exactly we thought they were.
Yo, let them off. Like, that's tough to see. It's just like because I was going through the Cardinals because I was sick of the Bears. Just like they were just annoying me that year, and then Devin Hester took off as he did in that epic rookie season. I was like, they really gave this lead up at home on national television. Yeah. So,
yeah, sports has given us so many moments of where were you remember where you were at when you saw something happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, my moment was like the Dodgers one. What was your moment of when something happened? You remember exactly where you were, time it was, and everything else?
So I would say, as far as the Saints is concerned, even before, like a couple weeks before the Super Bowl, I was at home during the NFC title game. You know, watching Garrett Hartley hit the walk-off field goal, yeah, I was just euphoric. Just I couldn't explain it. And also with the I'm a Lakers fan too. So when we beat the Celtics in 2010, the Game 7, I was in this room. It was in the room. You know, watching on TV. Just when they was up by 4, and when they launched the pass cross court. Kobe did the fist pump in the air, and I knew it was over because we got our redemption against the arch nemesis. It's just beautiful, man. Just
speaking of which, okay, so you know I grew up in the LA area. I was in California from 1983 to I just came to Dallas here 2 months ago in November.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the Showtime Lakers, and towards the end is when I got into basketball, was around '88, and then we had those years of down. They had a good squad with Van X, a couple other guys in there, but then Shaq and Kobe got there at the same time.
Absolutely.
Got better. Del Harris, they got swept by Utah. Then comes Phil Jackson. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't know how many people remember this, but Portland was the better team that year.
Yes, Portland was tough. They were tough. Yes.
Okay, if you remember this. The Lakers were actually up 3-1 against Portland in the Western Conference Finals.
Right, yep.
Portland just came back, And remember, they were down by 12, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
Look, I was working at a grocery store. I was working for a company called Rex.
Mm-hmm.
7, and nobody's in the store. Nobody.
Yeah.
We're starting to come back up. So me and a bunch of other guys, we went up to the break room to go watch the game. And I mean, there's probably like 10 of us in there.
Right.
Kind of going, get back to work. No, we're not going back to work. We're watching this. And I remember when Kobe threw that lob.
Oh, man, yeah.
We jumped up and down. You felt the whole floor just... And the funny part was I had just finished graduating from college.
Oh, wow. Yes, indeed. Yes.
To go to my graduation, she didn't make it. She came bottle of champagne.
Oh, my God. Like, I was, because, like, I started to get into sports in the early 2000s. Like, I was, at that time, I was in kindergarten when that happened. Like, I was kindergarten, yeah. So just... that was like just the turn of the league right there. One of those iconic moments, like a shift in power. Like, yes, that's what. Yeah.
The Lakers, they had Indiana after that. Boston, they had their little run. Right, it's a nice little run. But the Lakers and Spurs dominated.
Yes.
That era of basketball. Hey, here's a question for you.
What you got?
It seems like they're letting Popovich off the hook. All the talk about how great of a coach he is. Well, how have they been terrible now?
They've been decent, but obviously far cry from what they used to be. I think just still a testament to who he is, but there's only so much you can do, especially in pro sports. It's a lot about the players. It's a good, and now I always say college sports is all about the coaches mostly, even though you got to recruit. It's about the coaches because they're the stable forces in the program. They're the mainstays, but pros is more so about the players because they're the bigger investment financially. But it's a fascinating one. I mean, he has the cachet, so he can get off the hook a little bit.
Well, it's funny. A buddy of mine, we talk about college basketball all the time.
Yeah.
We feel bad for your generation and even the kids now.
Mm-hmm.
It was very odd back in the 90s where people would leave college after their junior year.
Yeah. It wasn't commonplace, yeah.
Do you remember, did you ever hear about the UNLV team?
Oh, yes. Running Rub. Oh, yes.
They all stayed their senior year.
Larry, yes. Stacy, yes.
That's how college basketball was, in that you got to see these teams grow, right?
Right.
So you would a team make the grade 8, Elite 8, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And, this next year, they could be in the game, and they would be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I remember there was a Rip Hamilton UConn team that slayed Duke.
Yes.
But that
1999. Duke only lost one game coming into that year. Into that game, that was like one of the greatest teams in the history of the sport, especially in Duke. Yes, absolutely.
So, and that was kind of the end of that era, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had cable, right? There wasn't any social media. Blah blah blah. Oh man, I get it. But my buddy and I would run home to watch Big East Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Big Monday, Super Tuesday when I was coming up, yes.
When you got to see Derek Coleman coming up. There was a player, Sherman Douglas. You know that name?
Yeah, I remember. Familiar, yep.
He was a guard from Syracuse, and just from watching him, on these Big East Tuesdays, I think it was, he torched UConn, he torched Georgia, he torched all of these teams. And he went in the second round, I think it was to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And then by his third, I looked it up recently, by his third season, he was 18-7-6. Also, and I'm going, how do I know better than you guys? Right? This guy got passed up by all these teams. You knew something I didn't know, because otherwise he would have been a lottery pick.
Without question, yeah. For that, what he did for that, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what's funny was now we talk about, or they talk about, just the one and dones being, the lottery picks, this, that, the other. It was so different watching these guys come in, maybe not as skilled, but just as basically as men coming in the league.
Yes, and like one thing I always say, and that always reaffirms my point. Just college sports is about the coach, like because they're the mainstay now. Because people's like, oh well, big time program, get all the stars. Listen, you still got to coach them up because especially in basketball, they're only there for a season. That's why Coach K's 2015 run was so impressive because the whole team was fresh, like the stars were freshmen in that title game against Wisconsin. All the points in the second half of the team came from freshman players. That's an unbelievable coaching job. Say what you want about the people. Can say what they want about the talent. It does help, but college sports is so difficult. Like I know it's like much different dynamic in the pros because you're dealing with men who are millionaires, multimillionaires. But it's difficult in coaching in college though.
Did you play college sports?
I did not actually. I've had a few people that did. I feel in my family, and for just a very very select few went on to play professionally in some capacity. But just like I had a few family members. Yeah, but my passion was always watching it. Like that was my big passion, talking about it, writing about it. I was a writer in high school and college. I wrote sports, but
sports columns or what did you write?
Yeah, so. In my high school, we had a monthly newspaper, so I just wrote like a couple sports stories a month. And then when I got to college, I worked for the school's newspaper for a semester. It was really a great experience. And I also wrote for a website, for several years. I also was the editor for a little bit. So it was very valuable. I fell in love with the online content creating, with the video, with YouTube and stuff. It was just very dynamic, and I transitioned into that.
I don't know where some of these questions, but I'm like,
oh, that's fine, yeah.
Some of these, I'm like, it's so interesting because I always learn from because the hockey ones come up and where they can't
right.
Like in how many seasons did this team finish first or whatever the case may be, and I'm looking and I'm going, I have no idea. And you get some of these like Minnesota, and Dallas, whomever the case may be, Miami, and I like when you get to see those because you really get to test. Okay, how much do I know about going from when I first started watching to now?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Remember how many times LeBron they went to the finals? What, 4 times? And how many of those did they actually win?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get back a little bit to we were talking about Duke for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, this is a 2-part thing. First, I'm going to ask, but I'm going to ask the second. I'm going to ask the second part second.
Right.
First, Grayson Allen. What do you think of him? And the second part is, how has he not got his head knocked off yet?
You know what's interesting when you say that just now? One of the announcers in the most recent game, he said it's coming. It's coming.
Who said this?
It was one of the announcers. I forgot who they were playing.
Hey, can you find that out and send that
to us?
Oh
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I gotta find. I forgot who they were playing. Yeah.
Do something and post about that because I bet you there's a lot of people that follow you.
Yeah.
That same thing. Because remember, it used to be, guys, they put you in your place. Like, do you remember what happened to Blake Griffin after a while?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
Because Blake Griffin came in dunking on everybody.
yes.
And it started throwing him to the ground.
Yeah, and then it's my cousin because when Lob City was really getting taken off a decade ago, he was saying Blake Griffin. A lot of people talk about he was one of the greatest dunkers ever. My cousin was saying that it's not like his dunks were super spectacular, but he just dunked on people. He just posterized. Yeah, he just jumped on them, over them. So that's what added to that excitement, right? Yeah. So
haven't they done something about players or the league done something about Grayson Allen? Because you saw what happened to our guy, former Laker, dude with the headband, dunked on Kevin Garnett. not Kevin Garnett, but come on.
I forgot. It's gonna bother me. It's gonna bother me too. Yeah.
He dunked on KD.
I gotta. It's gonna bother me too. I can't find it for some reason. Yeah, it's gonna bother me.
Balls now. Come on. It's only because we're doing a live in my.
Oh, Caruso.
Caruso.
Yes, Caruso. As soon as you said the Bulls, I said, yeah, I knew it was gonna bother me. Yeah, it's gonna.
That's such a dangerous play.
Yes.
When you throw him down, right?
Right.
When you slice in the air, and I can't remember if he's talking about the case may be, but it doesn't take much to throw a guy off, right? Where he comes down and he lands on his hip, because I think he broke his wrist. Right? Caruso broke his wrist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is it the next offense position, somebody's not, turning him upside down like a cartoon, making paint fall out of his pockets.
Yeah.
So give me your thoughts on Allen and why, it hasn't been dealt with. Either way.
I wish I could tell you, because I've thought the same thing for years, and I'm a Duke guy. But it's just inexplicable. The things that the nitpicky stuff like that. Chris Paul's like that as well. Chris Paul's like that as well. Like he's gotten bad. Like I know. The Duke reputation is polarizing, so obviously that gets more attention. But Chris Paul is becoming, people really been paying attention to him way more as well. I wish I could tell you, because I think the same thing. It's ridiculous. Like it's just.
What do you think has kept it from that? That's the thing is I don't, and even like when you see James Harden just take off to the basket and he get those layups all the time if he wasn't shooting a three.
Mm-hmm.
I look and I go, not 5-6 years ago, nobody. You tell me if you didn't notice this. Guys wouldn't even go and try to block his shot. They would jump sideways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going. Explain that one to me if you would. Do you ever think that, or is that ever dawned on you or anything?
Without question. It's just like, just.
Like, what is this? What we're seeing? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what the league prioritizes. I'll say that. I'll take this back. They're so enamored with the stars because basketball is about the star players.
Right.
NFL is about the shield. Typically is about the team. But NBA is about the stars because they control the game on both sides. So like they try to pander to the stars. I mean they ban certain like sleeves and stuff, but they don't ban the mannerisms. They don't ban none of that stuff.
And that gets me back to Grayson Allen. It's like you're not part of it.
Yeah.
AD, how are you getting away with breaking somebody's wrist? How come your own players aren't pulling you aside saying, look, young buck?
Yeah, exactly.
This guy should be out of the league at this point.
Now, a part of me always thinks about Coach K with this, because I'm a huge Coach K guy, but just he coached him to like several gold medals, just really kept the Team USA to hit standard after it was sliding. So I don't know if he had just like the in-depth relationships behind the scenes, That's what I always come up with. I mean,
well, at least it's something, right? Because it's not really. I mean,
yeah,
it's so inexplicable.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can say it. That's the only thing you can say about it. That's right.
No, I mean, thank you. Like I said, that's just bugging me. For the longest time, is you see somebody who doesn't have that much talent, right? That can come in and just start throwing guys out of the air. I'm like, no, you don't get to do that.
Right, yeah.
But hey, 2023 come. Let's happy times.
Listen, before we get off, and before we start the new year, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What do you think about your Cowboys? How do you think they're gonna finish?
Okay, they're gonna beat Tampa Bay in the first round, right? And then go to San Francisco after that.
And that's what they're going to San Fran after that, you think?
Is that where they would go? Is that where they would go next? Be San Fran?
I think, yeah, because like they're division champs again. So yeah, because like they're not going to win because Cowboys, Philadelphia has a division this year. So yeah, they'll go on the road. Yeah.
That's what I'd like to say to Dak and Zeke and all these guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy your win against Tom Brady, right? When you go out to the West Coast, I want you to bring your golf clubs. I want you to bring your swimsuits, all these nice things that you're going to want to do in the West Coast because you're going to be able to spend extra time there. Right? You're done. Go to LA, go to San Diego, go to Big Sur. Such a beautiful place, but you're done.
Oh, man.
But I mean, if anybody by doing this, it's just, that's just playful way of saying that their season's done.
I got you, yeah.
Back to that, what I mean, if anybody by does that.
Yeah, there are such, and just excuse the fireworks in the background. It's just, it's so fascinating to them, obviously, for who they are, for one, polarizing, iconic franchise, but as soon as they start to peak and stuff like that, you start to get on the bandwagon, and then they have a gaffe somewhere late in the season. They have a dud in the playoffs, and it's just rinse and repeat. Even with the immense, they've done an unbelievable job for the most part in the last decade with, in the front office, as far as building that offensive line, getting Michael Parsons, such an unbelievable player, getting Trayvon Diggs is just they've done an unbelievable job, but they just cannot put it together. And a lot of people, go ahead.
What did this kid land? This Fresno State corner, he's a slot corner.
Mm-hmm.
5 interceptions.
Great fun.
Their personnel, they do a great job. I commend, their front office in them getting and developing players. And there's a couple things I know that I've heard about why, they don't get to take the next level, but, we're almost out of time, so we'll have to talk about that another time. But, it's the good news is it's not as crazy Cowboys as the media plays it out to be. Everybody's just pretty chill about it. I think they kind of get, you know what I mean? It's not, right. I don't see people on Mondays with their heads down when Dallas loses. So it's not... So, okay, I'm actually glad to see that, people aren't going crazy on Monday if I, kick a rock or something, walk my feet right into the kick a rock or something, walk my feet right into the It's just a game. Okay, calm down. But no, it's actually been chill about it. I was wrong. Been very surprised.
Yeah, man.
No, they're trying.
Hey, but it's crazy that it's rinse and repeat though. Good luck to the franchise. They're gonna need it. They definitely gonna need it. And I just once again, brother, I appreciate your time as always. And listen, we're gonna definitely get back on again.
Thanks, man.
I appreciate you.
Saints and see how they finish. So
we go. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you up, brother. You have a blessed New Year. I appreciate your time.
Happy New Year. Thanks.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Have a blessed night. Y'all take it easy.
Good night.
Good night, brother.